Welcome, everyone, to the Uncorked Podcast. I am your host, Brian, and I'm here with Kevin, my co-host. And it's been a little while since we've recorded anything. I guess we do typically go a few months between these lately. But
Yep.
is a bit of a special occasion. It's not necessarily one that I like to admit, but it is my birthday today. I'm not much of a birthday person, but if you buy me a bottle of whiskey, then I'll let you sing happy birthday to me and stuff like that. But otherwise, I try to keep it on the down low. Um, go out for a nice dinner. That's about the extent of my desire to celebrate my birthday. But again, when it comes to whiskey, if there's an excuse to sit down and drink some good stuff, then yeah, I'll take that. So that's kind of the plan today. We did this kind of last year before. Well, I guess the channel was going, but we got together on my birthday and had some good whiskey with Kevin. And unfortunately, this year I forgot to bring the samples for the. I have two birth year bottles. One I opened last year, which is a Kleinlich from 1983, and I think it was earlier this year I bought an Auchentoshan from 1983 because it was sitting on the shelf. So I have those two. I was going to bring samples when I was visiting home. Forgot.
That's all right.
So, but we have a couple of whiskeys that we're going to drink together, and then I'll probably go through these two that I have. One will be a neck pour. It'll be the first, if this video does actually get posted, because this is going to be a casual thing. I think that's what I was trying to start out saying is I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but we're drinking some good bottles. One of which I've reviewed on the channel that I did remember to bring a sample for that I had poured. I poured a couple samples and said I would get the birthday ones later, and then I forgot those. But so yeah, this will be casual. It's mostly just be Kevin and I chatting. I'll try to edit it down into something that makes sense to other people. But and there's always a chance if it doesn't work out, nobody else knows that this is happening. So that's the benefit of not participating in social media because I not no there's no method or no platform that I use to alert people to upcoming things that I'm doing. So I don't have to actually commit to anything, which I guess it's nice for me, but probably results in me slacking off. Anyways, so I will be doing the first uncorking on Whiskey Uncorked of this Scott's Selection 1983 Auchentoshan. And I do expect good things because I do have one cast strength Auchentoshan from Old Particular, 22 years old, and it's actually pretty damn good. So I hope that one is tasty. But how are you doing, Kevin? And how are your holidays? Well, I guess might as well give us all a little catch up on how you've been and if you've been drinking anything good.
Yeah, sure. The holidays are interesting. As you kind of know, kind of everybody there was a family wedding shortly before Christmas, and that seemed to kick off a chain reaction of people being sick for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks now, whatever it's been. So my wife's been sick, my kids are sick. I got it a little, but I didn't. I seem to come out of it kind of the best. Um, but so it's always been a little bit touch and go in that sense. And I only kind of started. I actually kind of took something of a break from whiskey. Kind of did a little bit of a detox kind of before I knew you were coming, so that we were kind of fresh when you got here. And then, like I said, everyone kind of got sick, so it kind of it slowed that down, we'll say.
Sure.
And then even into the new year a little bit, I was kind of like everybody got that little self improvement health kick, and well, let's kind of extend this a little bit longer. And but I'd say this last week, I've definitely kind of gotten back into it. I've been drinking kind of lower proof stuff, Yeah, kind of taking it easy, making sure I'm not going too hard or doing anything silly. So, um, but when you were here, we definitely cracked open a couple. There's a 19-year-old cask strength Scapa that I got from overseas. Um, you had brought me my order from K&L Wines, which was I believe, it was a 19-year-old Macallan, Speyside branded, the Speyside M from Signatories. Um, there is even one or two others. I think I'm blanking on them now, but other than that, when you were here, I've been kind of sticking to and kind of some of the more shelf, you know, not beginner, but more entry level, just type of easy stuff. So easy stuff to drink. Stuff that's not I don't have too much expectations for so far. So,
All right. Yeah.
um, yeah,
Whisk-
just kind of starting to get back into it, and I guess it was my birthday last week and your birthday today. So, happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
You gave me a bottle for my birthday, so you're allowed to be here. You did pick up, yes,
Of
a
course.
private cask of Glenmurray. So Glenmurray is, at least when it comes to the independent bottlings. I reviewed the 18-year-old bottling, thought it was solid, especially if, at the price that it was at the time. But I've had one of my favorite bottles that's just about gone is a Duncan Taylor Glenmurray, 14 years old, and it's just been absolutely delicious. And then I got to taste this private cask for Warehouse Liquors, I believe, in Chicago that Kevin sent in a blind, and I really liked it there. So he grabbed me a bottle the next time he was there, and um, that was my birthday gift from him. So yeah, that's why I even allow him to acknowledge the fact that it's birthday, because that's kind of the rule. Uh, him and Tanya are allowed to, which is we had
We
a.
appreciate that. We appreciate that.
But yeah, it's good that you said you were kind of drinking some more entry level stuff, because that's definitely something I've been doing more of since I started the channel. I think it's been good for me, really. It grounds you a little bit and reminds you that not everything is 58% alcohol or 15 years or older and whatever it may be.
Hmm.
And
Helps
feel
helps you
feel more,
keep your appreciation of some of the complexities that you get in some of the other stuff.
and you get surprised by some of the
Hmm.
stuff on there too. It's there's a lot of good stuff out there, and the more you drink it, the more you can kind of appreciate it. Why don't we? I'm thirsty, and it was a rough day. We're both Green Bay Packer fans, and they played probably their worst game of the season. Well, it depends. They had
Yeah,
maybe all around, just first round of the playoffs, they just really didn't show up to play, and that was so we're a little
that was rough.
the downside. Yeah,
A
we're a
rough night.
little depressed. I think when they got eliminated from the playoffs last year, I think it was a text like, "Do you want to do you want to Zoom?" And yes, and I think yeah, that was I don't have too many days where I'm hungover anymore, but yeah, that was one day where I had a little pity party. So probably won't be the case today, but try to avoid that kind of thing. But there's maybe a day or two a year where it gets away from you. But anyway, um, we
Sure.
got we do have a couple bottles here that I know we do have samples of that we kind of traded while we were there.
Mhm.
Do which one do you want to start with? You want to start with your bottle or my bottle?
Well, I would probably lean towards your bottle. I would think,
Okay.
just because mine is more heavily peated, would be my guess. Just because I mean mine's younger and it's more heavily peated. Again, yours is peated too, but
Yes.
um, yours is more than double the age of my, which is also a pretty good age. So yours
Yes.
might be a little more delicate.
So the bottle he's talking about, if you probably know if you're following my channel, but I reviewed at the very end of 2024 the 40-year-old TB BSW from 1984 from the Thompson Brothers.
Hmm.
Um, 40.4% ABV. That's cask strength. Um, the youngest whiskey is from March 1984, is bottled in October of 2024. This was one where they don't know what's in it, so they know it's a blended Scotch. They believe it's um, a decent chunk of Old Bowmore from the 80s. Obviously, it was recast at some point. It went through a whole thing. You can check out my video. I think I kind of talked about most of the details there, and even like I said, the whole Bowmore thing. I think that was directly from Simon Thompson.
Mm.
So I reviewed it. I thought it was really good, interesting. I had a hell of a time just trying to describe even what it tasted like, because don't drink a lot of these, and it had some unique flavors and whatnot. So this will be Kevin's first time
Yeah,
just nosing
first
and tasting.
time.
So, which is good. I'll let
Absolutely.
him do most of the attempt of giving tasting notes, because
All
mine was pretty rough.
right. Fair enough. I'll do my best.
Yeah.
See how it goes. You're digging right in there.
Do it.
All right. Let's see what we got. Okay.
Yeah. It is light on the nose, at
Yeah.
least for myself. It's
Started out light, so I'm kind of doing the glass roll.
yeah.
Coating the hole inside of the glass. Try to see if we can't get it to pop a little bit more.
Yeah, I think even in that video, I tried one of those blender's glasses, and it didn't really
Mm.
help me out much.
Yeah, I mean, just right off the bat, it's kind of like a little bit of a dirty honeycomb. There's maybe like a light waxiness.
Yeah, it definitely has like just like that term dirty. It just smells like there's some dirt in it.
Mm.
It just kind of has that um just some grass stains and some dirt, and
Yeah, like jeans with grass stains on them, like that level of
yeah.
like it's not a glass full of like dirt and
Yeah.
mud and all that kind of stuff. It's just got smeared on like a
Kids was
beehive or something. And but yeah, I mean it's soft.
like, you can't the smoke is very wispy. There
Hmm.
is some super ripe over or very ripe fruit, but it almost, you really have to focus in on it and take a real big breath for it to even kind of present itself as fruity. But I think it's more apparent on the palate, at least in my experience, and I think that's what they're thinking. The
That's actually
Bowmore.
interesting. I've heard of this before. I've heard like even like Roy talk about it and stuff. But when you just said that, I can kind of get it when I have my nose a certain angle,
Yeah, that happens. Yeah,
which I don't get that. I maybe have never gotten that where it's like it's a distinctly like obvious. If I just change my head or switch nostrils or whatever, that it's like it evolves just from that little motion. But yeah,
yeah.
wow,
I get it a lot when,
I can get
as
that
I'm
fruit.
pulling it away from my nose. Like, it's always by accident. Like, I don't know if it's the act of pulling it away, or like my brain is done, it turns itself off, and I'm just kind of naturally smelling it without thinking too hard. And
It just
then
kind of lingers there a little bit longer. Yeah. No, I can see what you mean.
like if I yeah,
I
it's
think it is dragging the glass away. Hmm.
all
I would
right. Well,
almost call it like a lick of like a strawberry almost, kind of leaning that way. But like you say, it's kind of just like a mix of like a sweet and tart fruitiness.
yeah.
It's hard to just pick one. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't even remember what my notes were in the video. It was just, I think I was trying to do it, take notes before I recorded, and it was like, this is useless.
Yeah,
I
that
have to
kind of came
I
on.
have to record and edit this video before I leave. So let's just wing it. And it, like, watching that video back while I was editing it was like, oh my God. I was like, oh, I don't even think I'm gonna post this. And I'm like, no, this is actually good, because if there's anybody out there that's Like I'm not good at tasting notes. I did not start this channel to do reviews, really. Like I wanted to talk about whiskey more than anything. But you have to kind of build up the audience first, and you're going to do that through reviews. And I thought that it would be good to post, because even if you're someone out there is having, they're kind of not confident in their tasting notes ability, like I'm not good at it to begin with. I do my best. I don't have a lot of confidence, but I just go with what my does.
And I think it just kind of shows the experience. It doesn't even have to be like a 40-year-old whiskey. It can be any whiskey. But I think it just kind of shows it organically. You just someone just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't always, you kind of watch these old veterans, and they dip their nose in it once, and it's like, oh, it's dark elderberries, and
Stuff that I've definitely never smelled or tasted before.
Yeah, they'll name call some herb that's only in like East Africa or something. It's like, all right. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't, that's not how it works for 99% of people. Most people start off with, just what does it remind you of?
Yeah.
And that's going to be unique to you, right? Or to whoever, to yourself, because you only know what your memories and connections are. So, and it kind of feels like we're back at that learning how to do it phase.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know we don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah, if you come across a whiskey or a spirit or just in general that smells like something that you don't have reference points for, or that you haven't gone through that Rolodex of things in your brain, like, yeah, you're just gonna kind of sit there like, I don't know, it smells like whiskey.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
It's not that simple, but like, yeah, I have no idea what to call that.
Yep.
And you just start saying things until something's like, yes, that's it. And sometimes it still never comes. But I don't know. What do you think about tasting it? Ready?
I haven't tasted it yet. I've just been digging this nose. Pretty fascinated with even like the nose feel, or like the texture of it feels silky and elegant despite it being a little dirty. Yeah, I'm gonna dive in here.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. Ooh, wow.
There was like a candied. I got like a candied, like those candy orange slices. They're covered in sugar. Like kind of on the very back, I kind of got like a burst of like really sweet orange. Which I don't remember
I was
calling
definitely
it.
gonna say some sort of orange marmalade or something, but like almost spread on like I'm hesitant to call it steak, but there's something kind of savory, or maybe like a pork chop or something, maybe. I would maybe lean more towards like pork, I suppose.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, up front, like it's peatier than I thought it would be, being 40 years old. At least up front, it kind of fades into like a more, into something different pretty quickly. But yeah, there's a nice little pop of peat there early on for sure. Yeah, and the journey of the finish is really unique.
Yeah, it's really where the challenge comes in, because there's things that maybe individually you can kind of analyze, but because there's a bunch of things that are happening at the same time that aren't normally happening at the same time in a whiskey, because of the age and who knows what. Distilleries, different time of early 80s distillation, which I guess just dawned on me that this is 1984, so it's very close. I mean, some of the whiskey in here might be 1983 distillate.
Yeah, I would say there's actually a pretty decent chance there's some 83 stuff in here.
Yeah.
That's bananas. Like, that's crazy.
And it's like
not bananas as in flavor. Like, it's like,
maybe a little. Now that once you said it, I mean, it's been a little while since I took a sip, but once you said it, of course, then you start to taste a little, but like maybe like underripe banana or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the impressive thing about it is it's subtle, it's quiet, it's 40% ABV. It's not this. You're not you're not surprised by just how much power is being delivered by that ABV. It drinks like 40.4%,
Yeah,
but it's the complexity that's still there. And
complexity and the journey it takes you on
yeah,
is really unique. This is the oldest spirit I've ever tasted. So
yeah, I definitely think I'm pretty sure it is. Like I think maybe I mentioned in the video there was one way back a couple few years ago. I was in Denver when everyone was doing all the virtual tastings. The Scotch group there did a tasting with like really old spirit, and one of them may have been like a 40-year-old Altavania or something like that. I
mm.
can't remember.
Hmm.
So so as far as I know, it's the oldest one. There may have been, but I had no idea I had no idea what I was drinking or
Sure.
talking
Yeah.
about back then. So I was pretty I was just kind of making the dedicating myself to Scotch at that point. Um, but yeah, so this is officially like the oldest thing I've ever tasted,
Mm.
probably by, well, yeah, the Brora is 38, so I guess it's not significantly.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. I thought about the brewer. I think that was in 37 or 38 or something. What did you
Yeah,
say retail was on this? Because this is
retail, $200 about, yeah, with shipping and everything.
that's crazy. If
Because I think if you're in the UK, you probably ended up paying about $200. I got 20% off from the online creator code that the Thompson brothers send out to us. I mean, I'm sure I don't know if that's public knowledge
I'm,
or not. Whatever, I get 20% discount, but then we pay the pretty crazy shipping, and I only had 2 bottles, so I ended up paying like 45 pounds a bottle in shipping or something. So it probably cost me $200. Yeah,
well, at least for this one, if it's 250, all right.
and
um,
there's uh, they have a 38-year-old that's either at K&L or up for like pre-order.
wow.
38-year-old blend that's like 41 point something, and I think that's
Okay.
just under $200 or something.
Yeah, what Thompson Brothers is doing is it's almost unprecedented
But
for
yeah,
recent times anyway. This is
well, the fact that they're gonna release this. I mean, this isn't like the best whiskey you've ever tasted in my life. At least not yet. It's good.
no, but this is the best $200 whiskey I've ever tasted in my
Yeah,
life.
I mean that's possible. Yeah,
This is-
but just to have a 40-year-old Scotch and to be like, we're not gonna try to sell this for 400, 500 pounds at least. You
mm,
blended Scotch. I mean, because what other company, especially if they believe it's Old Bowmore, even though they couldn't say that it was publicly, they could, if they wanted to pump up get people to actually pay a larger amount of money. I'm sure they could have. So the fact that they had this stuff and they're like, no, we're going to
mm,
get 40-year old Scotch whiskey out there for what in the current market is an absurd price when some 40-year-old whiskey is tens of thousands of dollars depending on the name on the label, right?
yep, absolutely.
So it's a privilege, and yeah, we definitely they have my thanks for sending stuff out, like putting stuff like this out and giving people like me a chance to actually try this, because with the prices going the way it is, sometimes you just resign yourself to, like, I'm never going to taste that. And
Yeah, but like not even like just this or these bottles. The SRV5, the
yeah,
BSW 6-year-old or whatever. Like those are insane.
yeah, the BS. I had a glass of the BSW 6. Maybe it was. I think it was maybe last week or something. It was fairly recently, and it's like, God, this is really good. It's 6 years old, and it tastes like it's 15. It's like, if you would have told me it was a 15-year-old whiskey, I just would have said a 15-year-old single malt on top of it. And it's like,
Yeah, it's
it's
not even a malt, single malt. It's grain.
so I
Well,
feel silly complaining that it's $55 here when it should, because it should be like 40, 45 or something like that. But
just
um,
based on UK
yeah, if it was a 1-to-1 currency translation, it would be
transition.
like
Yeah.
bucks, $45 something. Although I, I think that I heard the price had gone up a little bit. But anyway, so 55
Mm.
bucks is still a pretty solid price for it. And Yeah,
Yeah.
and and then on top of it, going back to the Thompson Brothers, I mean, they're every independent bottling from them. I haven't tasted a ton of them because they're hard to get, but every single one is just really good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So,
I will just put out a disclaimer in case anyone's watching and doesn't know. I believe they said that the BSW6 is probably done this summer.
mm,
I think they said they're going to be out of stock for that particular release. So if you want any,
they had been hinting at it at least. So, but yeah,
yeah, I would grab it while you
yeah,
can find.
I should probably. I was debating because they're there, and it's like, oh, should I stock up on these? And it's like they're really good for what they are and really good for the price, but they're not necessarily like whiskey that you can never taste again necessarily.
Yeah,
So if you're looking for to stock up for on budget, well priced whiskey, then yeah, I would stock up. But I've uh resisted doing that just because it's like this is really good and it's really good for the price and really good for the age statement, but it's probably not something that just I'm never going to taste something like this again. So I
sure.
should probably grab one more. But anyway,
Yeah, no, this is wow. Thank you for this sample. This is phenomenal.
oh no problem. If you want any more of it, let me know.
I mean,
Happy to
I'll probably when we're done here, I'll probably hop on the internet and see if I can't find one. But
yeah,
yeah,
like I said, the I wonder what the 38 year, if they know, if they kind of have an idea of what's in that.
mm,
Because if this is Old Bowmore, then I think someone left some comments in under my video. I think someone said that 80s Bowmore does have a distinct taste that they didn't like, which is always like, I wish I had enough of that whiskey and comparable whiskeys to know that I didn't like 80s Bowmore. But you know, it's always one of those moments where it's like it's not a humble brag, but I kind of take it as one, right? It's
right,
like you know
exactly.
that you don't like 80s Bowmore because you've had enough of them and you've had comparable whiskeys to know that you like something else better. Lucky guy. But
Yep, yep.
anyways, apparently there's this really distinct note that some people don't like. But yeah, I wonder what the 38-year-old is if it's something that's similar. Otherwise, like I said, you can grab that one from
Yeah,
K&L
I'll
if
do
you
some
want.
research. We'll look into it.
But anyway, I'm gonna save a sip or two of that one for maybe to
Yep.
do a little side by side if you.
Yeah, I'll come back to that one after our next dram.
But you did some research on this one, so I'll definitely turn it over to you for.
Yeah, so I've got it poured, although I forgot to bring the bottle with me. But I don't think I need it. Um, so if you're watching this channel, I'm sure you probably know that last year, or at least beginning of this year, beginning of 2024 anyway, um, Ardbeg re-released their 40% chill filtered 17-year-old in honor of the old one from the early 2000s. Um, well, we are not drinking that. What we are drinking, thanks to again to Brian here, for Christmas. Was it last? I believe it was last Christmas, right?
Yeah,
I think it was
probably.
last Christmas. Last year, 2023's Christmas.
Yeah.
Um, Brian bought me one of those original ones that they're re-releasing in honor of. And the research I did, I believe it was a 2004 bottling based on the laser code and whiskey base comparisons. But yeah, so this is Ardbeg 17. Yeah, it's 40% non or 40% probably chill filtered. Um, but this bottle was is 20 years old on top of that. So
Yeah,
um,
it was funny because wasn't one of Ard when Ardbeg was announcing this new 17 for their committee release or whatever special edition they were doing, they quoted that that bottle sells for like 600 pounds or something like that, and I didn't pay anything close to that. I got it from the auction. I did not. It's not a 600-pound bottle that we're drinking. I like Kevin, but not that much.
yeah, yeah, no, I would not. I would certainly hope you didn't spend 600
But
pounds on it.
So I was like, I don't know, I didn't pay that much for the bottle I bought, but I guess maybe because it was 2004. They stopped doing it like in 2005, or they
I think it was
discontinued
I
a
think it
time.
was '05 was the latest bottles I saw, but it might have been '06. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so this is 17-year-old whiskey in a bottling from 20 years ago. So 37 years ago was when this was distilled.
Getting quiet. The thing that jumps out at me is it's more. Again, I don't really pick. I almost pick the Bowmore or the TB BSW as like more peaty. This one comes off as like real damp and
I would say like a damp. I mean, I still get some ashtray, almost like a damp ashtray.
I mean, a little
Like
bit.
it's not like a campfire.
Yeah, this is like
A little
musty.
gristly, but it's damp and it's very honeyed, gristly, damp.
Yeah, so I mean, this is I mean, obviously at 40%, but just in terms of like gentle whiskey, like this is like it's so soft and airy, and but it's still like really pleasant.
Yeah, like I don't think it smells like the 40-year-old, but I
Mm-mm.
think they're in the same sort of
Yeah,
um, like so. Like the reason that we're kind of doing these two is because it's kind of hard to drink these next to other things because they're so kind of either delicate or low ABV. And I think these two actually work nicely together.
yeah.
Um, I think it would be difficult to drink this one either, even like with any modern Ardbegs, either before or after. I think it would
A little waxy.
one of them would be negatively impacted.
Yeah, that's the issue I've always had with like low AB, super low ABV stuff because I don't have a lot of it. I have accumulated some stuff over the years, which hopefully I'll be talking about at some point this year. But like
Mhm.
you have like one of these really low ABV bottles, and you don't necessarily want to start the night off with something crazy. You want to at least have like a little warm up dram to get your kind of palate going. And but like yeah, you've really got to plan it out and kind of pick your spots about when you're going to drink it. Same thing with super high ABV stuff. I've got a couple of bottles of like 70% hazmat bourbon or American light whiskey, that sort of thing. And it's like, well, if I drink it early in the night, everything else is going to taste like water.
Mhm.
But if I drink it like at the end of the night, I'm drinking 70% alcohol to cap off
Yeah.
my night. And like, so, is that going to, you, you're going to have to like cut everything off a little bit short and not like make that last minute decision. Oh, I'm going to finish my night with that. You have to like, you just have to plan because
Yeah.
you cap that off. You just add that on the
For
end of the
sure.
night. You're gonna wake up with a headache. It's,
Yeah. And there's even just like a little quick moment when you were here, even because because when I bought it, so I've been kind of on this exploration journey the last year or two, and
mhm,
I've been trying to get like bottles from every distillery. Like I want to have you know a Delmonic and a Belmanic, and just
mhm,
be able to say I've had a bottle from every distillery. And I grabbed it. I think it's an 11-year-old Tormore bourbon barrel, independent bottling, and I didn't even realize it when I bought it, but when I showed up, I realized it's 64%.
mhm.
Uh, and
Yeah,
you noticed it when you were here and you kind of grabbed for it. I'm like, heads up, it's 64% ABV. Never mind.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Tormore is one of those distilleries. There have been a couple independent bottlings that have sprouted up here. It might even be the same ones, just been sitting on U.S. shelves, kind of sporadically.
Mhm.
Like one of like the green. I think it was Gordon and MacPhail, but it's like this green tube. It looks strange because it doesn't look like anything else that they've released here in the States. Anyways, there's been a Tormore or two, and I've just never bought one, so I've never tasted Tormore. So I was like, oh, my opportunity to like at least have a glass of Tormore. It's 64%. Again, it's either you got to baby it with water, or you kind of got to, again, you got kind of got to plan around it a little bit because especially if you're, or you got to decide that you have to commit that, like, okay, well, now we're going to enter 60% ABV plus, and we might have to
Mm.
hang out there for the rest of the evening. But
Or just get shocked in a blind or something.
yeah, yeah, that wouldn't be the first time.
Won't
Won't
be
be
the
the last,
last.
I'm sure. But
But
mm,
yeah, let's get into this Ardbeg.
yeah, let's do it. Yeah, the honey is coming out for me now, but here you go. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy birthday.
Yeah, peatier on the palate than the Bowmore, I think. Or I keep calling it the Bowmore. The TBD is,
Yeah. I would definitely say it's at least peatier longer.
yeah,
Like I said, I get a little peep perk in the beginning,
yeah. It's
but then it
definitely
kind of
more Ardbeg ashy.
yeah. Mm.
But this one, even when you open the bottle to pour me the sample, because you opened the bottle in front of me, and we took
Yep.
a little sip. I think if I remember right, I commented how oily it was, and it's still like
Yeah,
still
it's
coating.
good.
I can always tell when it's like I can feel it on my lips after I taken a sip. It just kind of sits there.
Mm.
So this can't be super heavily filtered because
Yes. Oh, that's probably not gonna work. But yeah, it's sticking to the glass. It's very gloopy for 40%.
yeah, that honey's there. It's really tasty. I think the funny thing is like it's a privilege to be able to like drink this stuff, but would this be a bottle I'd have on my shelf all the time if it was still available? Because it's just so amazing. No, like, it's really good and it's fun because of what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, it's definitely probably the prettiest Ardbeg I've had. Like it's dang near elegant.
Yeah, it's not super complex. You can probably tell the casks were probably, because this is Ardbeg kind of coming out after they were mothballed or whatever. So there are probably some crappy casks, laying around, some pretty dead casks, and this is probably something that was in a
Hmm.
mostly just refill, possibly multiple times. It's like I said, it's delicious, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. It's
Do you see anything about it that is unique from whiskey that's available to us now?
no, probably not. I think this can probably be found. But the one thing to remember, like this was celebrated, I think, back in the day, because back in mid 2000s, these were what, 40, $50 a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
For 17-year-old, like this is gorgeous for $40 or $50, whatever they were,
Yeah, that's true.
somewhere around
If this was on the shelf for $50, $60, then yeah, you're right.
there. So I can see why it was celebrated 20 years ago. But now, if they're charging what, $200 or whatever it is now, plus maybe even I
Yeah,
imagine
it's such
higher
a
than that.
slap. Just such a slap in the face. I mean,
Uh,
I can rant about that. I like Ardbeg's been screwing around. I'll try to keep my profanity to a minimum. 3 years. Like they've been acting up, and it's almost, I maybe in my brain I almost just kind of accepted them as kind of your oddball cousin that every once in a while if he's you hang out with him and it's like, oh, he actually made it better that he was there, but like 90% of the time you're just kind of embarrassed. I don't know. I don't think we have a cousin like that quite, but at least not any. I, not since we've grown up a bit, I suppose. But anyway, um,
yeah.
and it was just kind of like I would almost like accepted that, like, okay. And then I reviewed the Spectacular last year and I actually liked it. I thought it was overpriced, but then you find out that there's like 14, 15-year-old Ardbeg in there. And I actually was like, hey, this is actually pretty good. This was more like $100. I'd be happier, but
Mm.
um, and even burying their crap in the mud and NFTs, like whatever. Like you can do whatever you like. It's a cask of whiskey. I know
Yep.
some people out there like get really mad about it, and maybe that's just a little bit like, especially if you're Scottish and you're probably have like a little bit more, maybe you have some national pride and you don't want your companies representing you doing really kind of clown worthy stuff. But
Mm.
anyway, I had kind of like just accepted that, like, okay, Ardbeg is gonna Ardbeg, and
It's
that's
part of
okay.
who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna change. Getting mad about it, like clearly they're selling bottles, or they would have changed already. But then they did this with the 17-year-old and
Yeah.
released that press release, proud,
Celebrating that it was
celebrating
40%
that
and
it's
chill filtered
40%.
for us. They
Yeah,
did it for us.
yeah, yeah. They're gaslighting us. Like this is what you want. Um, it's just like
That was a turning point for sure.
it's that. I mean, that is abusive. Like if that's a you're in that if your partner does that to you, like that's abusive, right? You can't like you need to like get out. That's happening. So, and I was like,
You made me do this.
yeah, yeah, and we're doing this for your own good, sort of thing. It's just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, it would have been great if they would have released, even at the price they released it at. If they were to release it at 46% non-chill filtered, hey, you know how much you loved the old 17-year-old? Well, now try it unadulterated. Try it in its purest form or whatever. They could have did whatever Ardbeg marketing spin they want. I would have paid $180 for a bottle probably.
Hmm.
But just to not only release it like that, but then to like prance around like you're doing us a favor was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so I'm pretty much out on Ardbeg. When they release whatever they release this spring is their new committee release. It, because it's good for the channel. I wouldn't have bought the spectacular last. I mean, I was out on buying Ardbeg mostly, outside of maybe Oogie or the Corey Crabby, or not. That's like the Core of Reckon. Sorry.
Hmm.
Um, the 10-year-old's good. I still like the 10-year-old,
Yeah. Delicious stuff.
but like the committee releases, unless somebody alerted the community that, hey, this one is definitely worth getting, I was done. But next year it's good for the channel. Am I going to pick one up? And it's like, well,
Mhm.
if I wasn't like definitely wanting more subs, if I was like just totally comfortable with my position, then I absolutely wouldn't. But I don't know.
Mm.
Still have to think about it. I probably won't. I'll probably try to stick to my personal ethos and just say kind of screw Ardbeg at this point. But
Sure. Well, even
yeah,
like I think it was the fall or maybe the late summer they released the next anthology, which was the Madeira, right? The unicorn's tail or
yeah,
whatever it is. Like
yeah.
I would love to try Madeira Ardbeg, but they want like $150, whatever it's 160, whatever it was, and I'm just out.
Well,
Just
and
no thanks.
you're right. I love Madeira cask whiskey too. But the problem with Ardbeg in that sense is they always do such light barrel influence. Like they only like use refill casks. You're
Hmm.
never gonna get a big Madeira bomb Ardbeg, and not that I necessarily want a Madeira bomb, but like even with the spectacular, because it was port, right? It's
Or
old.
barely port. Yeah.
Yeah, it was old Quinta Ruban casks from. So the cask is refill to begin with, because Quinta Ruban was already in it for 14 years. So the cask is dead. The wood is gone.
Hmm.
So, and the port, I mean, port can be a little unruly. I'd rather have too little than too much. But I thought I would like to taste Ardbeg like Lafroig does with their Carchus releases, where, hey, here's what Lafroig tastes like in Madeira or
Yeah, Ness
EX
or
or whatever.
whatever it is. Yeah.
And that's why it was my whiskey of the year, because they're actually going to give us what something that's worthy of special release, annual release sort of thing, for a
Absolutely.
good price. So
Phenomenal choice. I completely agree.
all right, I'm gonna take a sip of the BSW, try to compare.
Back over. Yeah. do it. Oh.
Such a nice, gentle sweetness on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a low ABV, you don't want to like chew on it too much. You don't want to mix too much saliva with it, but it tastes really good, so you don't really want to swallow it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, even just coming back to like even just the nose, man, the wood pops so much more coming off of the Ardbeg because the Ardbeg has such little cask influence. It seems that this one,
yeah, I'm
it,
I'm getting it on the palate. It's kind of got a little bit of tannins now.
hmm
I
yeah,
don't.
I wasn't getting that before.
No, I definitely didn't feel like this. For 40 years old, you almost expect it to be at least a little oaky, but obviously these were casks that people were comfortable letting it sit in there for 40 years. So I guess it's not shocking. They're probably
Yeah.
pretty tired casks as well. Well, it's got a pretty color to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice.
Yeah, I was when I poured it in the initial glass, I was actually kind of struck by it. Like it's not anything crazy, but it seemed like it was kind of a unique color. I couldn't really quite describe it, but there was kind of an interesting sheen to it almost.
Yeah, it's got kind of almost. We were kind of saying it was dirty. It almost kind of had like in the right light. Like on the camera, it almost looks like dirty water, but
Like
like
the dirty water, yeah.
it looks nicer than that when you're when it's not on the webcam. But it's like, but looking at it through the screen, I was like, oh, that looks like pond water or something. It's a nice amber color if you're
Yeah.
actually looking at it direct on. But yeah,
Whiskey,
that,
we can appreciate those kinds of things.
I guess I gotta finish these before I pour some of my higher proof stuff. Otherwise, we won't get anything out of here. So I don't want to rush it. But
Excuse.
yeah, here we go. Did a sip of the Arbe like almost directly off the back of the BSW, and it added the fruitiness. Like I can almost
Mm.
taste the fruitiness of the BSW more with the Ardbeg now than I was just with the BSW by itself.
Hmm.
I wasn't getting
Ooh.
fruit on the Ardbeg before.
They did kind of blend together a little bit, which actually there was like one pop in there that was really, really good.
Yeah, drinking those, both of them are very good. Um, the Thompson Brothers has the leg up on just kind of complexity or like unique flavors that I haven't tasted a lot in
Mm.
Scotch. The
But I
Ardbeg
mean, that's
is very
yeah.
is very nice. It's
Yeah.
very
And you
tasty.
would hope that about the Thompson Brothers, right? It's it's 40 years old. It's a blend. Um,
But yeah, but the thing about that is, though, I mean, obviously the Thompson brothers are deciding whether to release it on their label, but they didn't do any. They just had this barrel of the blend. It was blended Scotch in the barrel,
mhm.
so they didn't. As far as I understood it, they didn't do any blending themselves. It was blended, then and put into different casks, and then it sat there for like 36 years or something like that,
Mm.
kind of marrying and everything. So
That's interesting. Yeah.
they came across these casks and just said, bottle it. So and
Yeah.
so good on that again. Good on them and thank you for giving people like us the opportunity to taste stuff like that. Because even if it's not, I mean, it's a very good whiskey, but
Yeah.
if it's not
Most
like the
definitely.
greatest whiskey of all time, it's unique, it's interesting, and it's 40 years old. It's almost as old as me, but
It's older than me.
yeah, that's true.
Not by much.
Yeah.
I'm right there. But
All right, well, let's move on. I'm going to move on to some stronger stuff. I know you've got something in your glass. I'll let you
mhm.
tell folks what you're drinking. But I got you that bottle of Ardbeg, and what's in my glass now is something you got me. Where this is it's always fun to exchange bottles like this. I think, but this is a 1983 birth year Kleinlich from Murray McDavid, 46% ABV, Mission Murray McDavid Mission single malt Scotch whiskey. selection number 3, unique bottling of Kleinlich, 1983, aged in oak casks for 20 years, so it's 20 years old. 700 mils, number 235 out of 498 bottles. Jim McEwen's name, it says Jim McEwen Master Distiller, although he obviously didn't distill this, but comes in a very hefty, like sharp, like you can get splinters on this thing. You can cut yourself on this box, but comes in a pretty, like you literally,
Heavy duty.
yeah, the corners are sharp. It's got to be careful with it. So we opened this last year for my birthday when we got on, and you had a sample of it. It was pretty good, but it was tight. It was a new bottle. I think I might have had a little bit, judging by what was in the glass, it looked like maybe I had poured another small dram to get some more air into it at some point. But other than that,
that's another one that's been in the glass for 20 years, right?
Yeah. So this would have been bottled in 2003.
Yeah.
So this is opened it in beginning of 2024. So it was in the glass.
Definitely takes some opening up then for sure if it's been in glass for 20 years. But, no, I'm drinking one that we mentioned earlier. This is that 19-year-old Scapa that we opened up while you were here. But just because of how the night went, I actually never poured a glass for myself. So this is actually my first time trying this bottle that we opened a couple weeks ago. So,
awesome.
And I don't think I've ever had a Scapa. So this is actually my first tasting of Scapa ever. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I did taste it because K&L had the bottles of the 16 and the 21-year-old. I don't know if the younger one is 10 years old?
10 years old, yeah, which is supposed to be really good, but I haven't seen that anywhere.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have gotten to the States yet. But the 16 and 21 are pretty prevalent, depending on where it's kind of strange. Some stores have it for what would be equivalent to like the UK pricing. Like the 21 is $330 a bottle. The 16 is 120, 130, something like that. However, there are stores, both K&L here and I saw online, many other stores around the country had it for half price. So it's if you're not, so the 16-year cost me $60, and the 21 was 160, which are fantastic deals for the new Scapa 16, 21, 48.
The 16's 48. The 21's like 452 or something.
Yeah, I have them right here. This is the 21. It comes in a big box, which I'm not. It's kind of. I hate whiskeys that come like the packaging is cool, but you have to like if you're gonna drink it on a regular basis, like you have to put the box because it's like a whole ordeal. 52.9. Yes, you're right. Anyways, so I tasted your bottle. I wanted to taste it, even though my palate was doing okay until we ate dinner, and then I kind of threw it off a little bit. But tasted it, and even with like the palate running at 80-85%, I was like, there's enough good stuff in here that I think I do want to get those bottles. And then when you pointed out that they're actually like half the price that they apparently should be, whether that's some sort of strategy for Scapa to get a foothold here in the U.S. and to get people to buy and drink their whiskey, possibly. Yeah. We used to see the non-age statement one. I think I've seen that in stores here for a long time.
So. It's been a while, yeah.
Anyway, got those. Will be getting reviewed here pretty soon. But so yeah, I tasted it. I was like, I can get enough that this is probably good. So yeah, this Kleinlich. I stuck my nose in it when I first poured it, and it's smelling a lot better. Definitely that waxy Kleinlich with like it borders on that what I kind of interpret as briny, or like it kind of gets that oystery, like a fresh oyster sort of vibe to it.
Okay.
I've got like Bruichladdich.
Like lactic or a little bit different?
No, I mean I think it's not Bruichladdich. Because when
Okay.
body gets old, sometimes that lactic note turns into that seafood,
Okay.
saltwater thing. This is kind of, it's from the wax, I'm almost certain. But it's just kind of leaning that way, right? It's just got picking up a little bit of
Mm.
briny quality that I sometimes get. There was something else that recently I was picking up. Oh, it's my I have a bottle of Kleinlich from Signatory. It's 43%. Um,
Okay.
I want to make a video because I have two bottles that were sequential cask numbers. One is cask strength and one is 46% that was distilled on the same day. Like, I want to make a video of it. They're kind of getting low and they've been open for a while, so I kind of need to drink them. And trying to think of like a, and the 43% version is better, is the better of the two bottles.
I think I've heard you mention that
It's a
before.
fantastic bottle of whiskey. The cast strength one is good.
Mm-hmm.
43% one is just, it's sublime. It's fantastic.
Mm.
And that one kind of has gone even more into, again, what my brain recognizes as kind of like a fresh oyster smell.
Sure.
Um, and this
Mm.
is kind of picking, it's got its toe in that salt water, but not much beyond that.
Okay.
But nice Kleinlich waxiness, not particularly complex otherwise, but everything you'd want in a, in a glass of Kleinlich, I suppose.
Fair enough.
What about you? What are you getting on yours?
Yeah, this one. There's nice complexity here, but like, what's taking my mind over is like those honeyed graham crackers. Like, you've seen those graham crackers, but they're like honey flavored almost.
Okay, yeah.
Um, like that's kind of front and center. But there is a little bit of like a pretzel salt almost. You can kind of like if you ever smell like those salted pretzels, like at a fair when they like you see them dump the salt on it and they hand you the pretzel,
It's
kind of
kind
like
of the
that
lot that
almost dark toasted but like big chunky salt. Definitely not like out of a bag or anything like that. Like they're fresh
okay.
baked. But that like I said, those honey graham crackers, a little bit of even like a marshmallow sweetness. So there's almost kind of like a s'mores thing going on. Maybe even some like really light milk chocolate. Um, but that might just be me forcing the s'mores thing. Um,
What was, do you know what the cask was? Was that bourbon cask or was it
I believe it's bourbon cask. Yeah,
okay.
I think it was first fill.
And I think that's what I remember as well, but
Hmm. Yeah, I mean vanilla definitely kind of hold acting as like a little bit of a base. Yeah, but yeah, definitely very foody, very kind of s'moresy, buttery, a little savory in some senses. Yeah, that's good. It smells good. I haven't tasted it yet.
it'll be interesting to compare that with the new bottlings. And for me, I
Mm,
think I'm at that stage. I mean, I think I've been here for a while, but one of the reasons why I like bourbon cask whiskey so much is really identifying what makes it like the distillery character.
absolutely.
It helps me enjoy more heavily cask influenced versions of from that distillery because I know what
You can
part of
make that.
the distillery, and
Yeah,
I can still get the
what's the
unique.
cask?
Yeah.
What's the distillery? Absolutely.
Or does the cask just completely, drowned out what the distillery is?
Mm,
But I've learned to enjoy much more cask influenced whiskeys recently because particularly of distilleries where feel like I have a decent grasp on what kind of whiskey that distillery actually makes. And it's easier to do that with bourbon barrels.
mm. I will say this nose is very fragrant. It's very thick. This is fun. It's actually fun to smell.
Hmm.
I don't even feel like compelled to drink it yet. I'm just kind of just kind of enjoying this and inhaling it.
Okay, well, I think I'm ready to go. Like I said, this Kleinlich
Yeah.
It just says oak casks. It's got to be bourbon, if not
It looks
refill,
like it.
some sort of refill cask maybe. But it's a pretty straightforward nose. But if you like how Kleiner smells, then this will probably do it for you. But I'll go in for a sip, and you do what you will with yours, I suppose. You going in too?
Yeah, let's go in.
All right.
Cheers. Stark ABV difference for me.
Yeah.
This one's, I forget what it is. It's high 50s.
Yeah, it was pretty strong for 19 years. I was impressed by the ABV.
Mm. Oh, that's tasty. That is good.
Yeah, so compared to like last year, I think it's probably better. Probably definitely better.
Okay.
It's got like a weird. It's kind of got a strain. It might be like from the oak. It might be wood. It's nice and waxy. It's not. There's some fruit coming out now, like some some sweet apples, some apples and pears, something like that. The nose is nice now, but it felt a little, at least on that first sip, like kind of a little fireworky, like a little little something over here, and then something else would kind of pop up, and then something else would pop up, and then would come back to this other thing. So a little spastic, I guess. I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
what term to use, but um,
Kind of segmented, maybe. Just
yeah,
like
it's just like a little fireworks show where there's a burst of flavor here, then a completely different flavor kind of bursts over here, and then maybe it kind of settles in um, towards the finish, and then the finish was kind of waxy, but also fairly oaky especially for Scotch. Like being that I drink at least, at least bourbon regularly, I don't really get like strong oak flavors even on old Scotch very often. So because it's compared to high ABV bourbon, it's
yeah,
pretty much
that's nothing.
non-existent.
Yeah.
But this one actually felt like it had some actual like tannic wood on it. So I'll go in for a second sip. Why don't you tell us what you're getting on yours?
Yeah. I mean, palate was relatively on point. Although this had more. This actually had more of like a cocoa. Again, I wouldn't say it was milk chocolate, but cocoa, cacao, maybe sort of adjacent to dark chocolate, but there was some sweetness there. It wasn't entirely devoid of it, at least that element. But yeah, definitely rich, loud, but complex. Um, like I even got a little bit of that pretzel note, even kind of on it, like pretzels, cocoa powder. Still a nice, rich graham cracker. I didn't really get that much honey on the palate, but um, baking spices, like very much, definitely a sort of sort of bready, but like kind of like a dark sweet bread. A lot of notes kind of along that lines, that kind of a profile. But yeah, no, rich, satisfying, like especially for a bourbon barrel, you could call this decadent. I think for sure. Like I say, it's very full. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, that first sip was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, especially just the the ABV coming off those 40 percenters.
I bet, yeah, I bet. Yeah, and the second of the Kleinish, there's something distinct about this, and I'm trying to figure out what to call it. So first off, I got like really nice like honey, like real just thick like sweet honey up front. It was just delicious. When you swallow it, it's a sensation and flavor combination where it's pretty intense. It's not alcohol burn or anything like that. The best thing I could think of is like citric flavored wood, like what I think what a lemon tree tastes like the wood tastes of lemon
Hmm.
sort of thing. It's not right, I don't think, but I don't recall having that kind of experience, and it sits there for a long time, and it's pretty intense for 46%. Now, coming off of 40 percenters, but not that big of a
Mhm.
jump.
Mhm.
Um, didn't quite get the fruit. on the second sip. It turned into that more citrus, like
Sure.
fresh spritz of lemon on a board or something. It was it was strange, interesting. It tasted good. It wasn't off-putting, but I was just trying to figure out what the hell do I call that? And
Oh,
it's the closest I got. It's a pretty good whiskey. It's interesting. Um, I do wonder like what it just I wish it said what the casks were. It just says oak casks because maybe there was like some wine influence that is kind of helping with that slight, I won't say
mm,
strange, I'll say novel flavor that I'm getting. Um, but it's pretty good. It's getting more interesting as maybe next year it'll make more
yeah.
sense. But
Round into form. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep just only drinking these on my birthday. That's kind of what I want to do. And then maybe
That'd
kind
be
of,
pretty fun though.
yeah, I'll
Like
have,
almost do it blind. Like not blind isn't like you don't know what it is, but like take the notes every year uniquely. Like don't look at your old notes and just
yeah,
kind of see how it evolves every year.
yeah, yeah, just see how it changes. Cause I imagine the cork's been out of that bottle. Well, once when I opened it to pour your sample, I might have I think I took a little sip when I first opened it.
Mm,
And then again, when I poured it on my birthday, and if I did have another sip at some point, which I probably did, again, given but the fill level looked like a little bit lower. So it's been the cork's been out of the bottle 3, maybe 4 times,
mm.
including today
Yeah, say 4 times
in
maybe
a year.
today.
So, and that's really you got to let new air if you want a bottle to open up. You got to either have a decent amount of air in the bottle, or you've got to put new air in there every
New
once in
area.
a while. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's it's tasty. I think it'll get more interesting, but it's not like epically amazing at this point. It's a nice Kleinlich with a unique twist to it.
Okay, we can live with that.
Well, I mean, I know I don't want to insult you. I know you made the whiskey and everything. So
I did. I did. Yeah, I distilled it. I filled it.
yeah.
4 years before I was born. I painstakingly crafted that one. So.
Well, I got
But yeah, I think you have another one. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna leave a sip or two of that one. And again, this has been going pretty good. So I'm guessing I can probably edit this into something that worth posting as a podcast episode. So this will be the first official uncorking on Whiskey Uncorked. Uh, this again, this is a Scott selection Auchentoshan from 1983. This is about it says distilled in 1983, bottled in 2004, so 20 maybe 21 years old, 52.4%. Kevin's been anxiously waiting for me to open this because they still have bottles of this there.
They still have it at Liquor Warehouse. Yeah.
So, um, does not say anything about casks, although in 2004 maybe people didn't really give a damn. Uh, This has
I
no,
also wonder if that brand is even. Or I assume that brand's not even around anymore. I don't think I've ever seen that.
this
Scott's
bottle
Selection.
and the other the other bottles of this at the shop are the only ones I think I've seen from Scott Selection. But natural cask strength at 52.4, and I'm praying the cork is destroyed because
Yeah, that's never fun.
I had a I just had I got lucky, but I bought like a little it's like $33 for the 3 200 milliliter bottles of Bruichladdich. It was like a bottle of classic laddie, Bruichladdich, Isla barley, and I think Port Charlotte Scottish barley.
Hmm.
And it was in this like little gift box thing, and it was from 2017, and the shop had it on sale for like $33. So I was like, well, I need to actually like try the Isla barley, Scottish barley stuff. So I got it, and the other night I was going to open the Bruichladdich Isla Barley, sorry. And like the second I touched the cork, it just like fell, like it just broke right off. I'm like,
Oh
uh,
no.
I mean, I'm not
Well,
surprised. It's probably been like laying on its like it's probably been laying down for 5 years or something, right?
for a gift set, yeah,
It's
not
gift
surprising.
sets. Or I got lucky because I was like, okay, there's a couple different methods, like put it in a shoe and bang it against the wall and stuff like that's never worked. I got the corkscrew out, which is always just pushes it into the bottle. But I was like, I'm not gonna go anyway. The corkscrew, I actually got it out with the corkscrew without anything
Nice.
fall. There might be one tiny little piece in like of cork in the bottle, but I'm like, it's a 200 ml bottle. I'm not gonna get cheesecloth out and like strain. Anyway,
Yep.
long story to delay. It looks good through the thing. It looks pretty solid, but we'll see. Yeah, feels good. Think we're good. Nope, we're
Nice.
not good.
Oh, you
I
you
got
jinxed it.
cocky. I got cocky.
Oh no.
It was coming, and I just okay. Hopefully that means that the cork is in, like it's not super rotted through. So maybe I'll get lucky with another corkscrew. I'll be right back. We are good, no problems. Came right up.
Excellent.
So I've gotten lucky 2 times in a row. Like a corkscrew actually was able to get. So
I usually have good luck with the corkscrew. I think once or twice it kind of fell apart. But
well, in
had to
the
get
cork,
fixed up.
it was weird. It was sticky. Like the cork was.
Mm.
I don't know what that means. If
Maybe like the glue dissolved, like melted and then reformed or something.
yeah, I don't know. It was weird because normally when you pull them out, I mean, maybe they have a little bit of whiskey on them or they're dry, but yeah, like touching the cork, it was like actively sticky, which I don't think I've ever had before. But anyway, um,
Hmm.
it came out no problem. I didn't get any particles in there or anything
Maybe
like
that's why
that.
that brand isn't around anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've had I've had probably like I broke the Bruichladdich cork, although I don't that one, like I said, you blew on the cork and the cap
Yeah.
came. This one I got a little. It was turning and coming out, and I just pulled it, and it was a bad idea for me to do that. Um, but I probably break a couple corks a year. Like it's not stuff, but even like newer bottles, like they just break. But that's why I mean, I've kept like a cork of every bottle I've ever had, so I have multiple tins of this stuff. Anyway,
Sure.
let's I don't know, next pour. Hopefully the sticky cork doesn't mean the whiskeys taste like cork.
I hope not.
It'll smell like it. Yeah, it smells pretty nice.
Good, good, good.
I could pour a splash of the other Auchentoshan, but probably not worth it just to compare them. But yeah, definitely very, very fragrant, but it's grassy and floral. It's kind of got a little bit of grainy,
Hmm.
like not grain in alcohol, but I guess I would say like silage. It kind of has like that damp malt smell to it,
Sure.
damp barley.
So, quick aside on that. Again, that brand. I was just curious. So you can find brands on like Whiskey Base. It looks like their last bottling was in 2012 that I can see,
Mm.
but almost everything that they've ever bottled was 70s and 80s.
Oh,
Like almost primarily 70s. They've got lots of 1970s distillate.
probably somebody that had some connections or had built up was into whiskey for a long time. Maybe built up their own.
Mm-hmm.
Say who Scott was like.
Not on Whiskey Base. I could. I'll keep browsing while you're exploring it.
Robert Scott has say there are very few real traditional master distillers left still practicing their fine art in Scotland. And random words in that are in all caps. So just so you know. New technology has meant that distilling Scotch whiskeys is done mainly by sophisticated computers. This is in 2004, mind you. However, Robert Scott has stood the test of time, and with over 50 years of his working life spent on his
Hmm.
love, apart from his wife, of distilling the finest rare Scotch whiskeys. So apparently, Robert Scott was a man.
He was the master blender at Speyside Distillery,
Ah, interesting, interesting.
and then this line is his favorite casks.
Yeah, he must have had a maybe bottled some for himself, like he had just been collecting casks and stuff over the years or something, and then he bottled some for himself and he sold the rest of it or something.
Yeah, must be.
It smells very good. It's definitely like a little off profile from some of the bourbon whiskeys or the bourbon aged whiskeys that I've been seeking out lately. This is like very, like I said, it's that like damp grain sitting in a silo or something like that. It's a smell I've had before. I'm sure there's like an official term for it. There is something that like
Mhm.
both, particularly in Scotland, probably call it. It's not a super unique thing. I've definitely smelled it before. Also, some like fresh oak. Yes, it's very nice, but it doesn't smell pretty. It kind of has of almost bordering on like farming, not quite, but
Okay.
it's not manure and diesel tractors, but
Yeah, still, that's interesting for an Auchentoshan. Those are usually, you say, quite pretty, actually.
yeah,
Usually.
they'd be triple distilled, presumably,
Mm.
but at least it's definitely got some like a grain elevators. What I imagine something like that that would smell like, I guess. All right, here we go. Oh, that was pretty tasty. That's pretty good. Yeah, it kind of tastes like it smells. Maybe a little bit more lemon, a little bit more floral.
Okay.
It's kind of got like a like not real tea, like I guess like a herbal tea with some lemon. Like it's like it's bright and fresh, and then it also has like the foundation of the what I was getting on the nose. And there's some fruit in there too that was kind of trying to peek through, kind of little bursts of it. So I wonder if that'll come out more as it opens up.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, nice, pretty honey and on the front, and then here's something interesting in there. Almost savory, almost kind of like I don't know. It's drinking this stuff, and especially these older whiskeys. Again, it not completely foreign, but it's presenting itself in a way that it's not something that you come across commonly where in your 10,
Right.
12-year-old, even 18-year-old official bottlings. Like I'm sure like in official bottlings, they're blending this stuff kind of out, right? Even if it's a part of their distillery makeup when it comes to blend bottlings, especially
Mhm.
Auchentoshan is. I've never bought an official bottling of Auchentoshan.
No, yeah, me either. I
I
have.
I have at some point I will but it'll only be for for a point
To
of
fill that gap in
yeah,
the
it's a pure
in the
point of
store.
reference for me. And again, if I'm going to complain and if I'm going to complain about stuff, then I at least want to be complaining in my own words. But I'll tell you, this is a second bottle of Auchentoshan and that I've had that's cast strength, 20 plus years, and at least this one at first glance, both of them have been very good, enjoyable. Not maybe not show-stoppingly amazing, but reasonably priced. Given this was $200, you know, bought. almost 20 years after it was bottled. Fair enough, you know. Um, on a shelf in Chicago, right? So you're not going to find. Normally, you'd have to go to an auction house, and it's going to cost way more than that anyway. So,
Yep, more than likely.
but you know, I think Auchentoshan certainly is something that's not talked about by the online community like at all. I want to say I just saw a video maybe come up on like my on YouTube. It might have, I don't remember. It was a channel that either doesn't always review Scotch, or it's one that maybe I just recently subbed to and I don't know yet. But I think they had a bottle of Auchentoshan triple wood or something, and it said like, "Why do I do this? Why did I do this to myself?" or something like that. Like I've never drank it, so I can't.
Mm.
But it's like, well, like if you didn't know, like if I buy a bottle of Auchentoshan triple wood, I'm gonna expect that it's not going to be. I'm hope
Yeah,
I'm. I'll just be hoping it doesn't taste actively bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's boring or bland, that's one thing. But this hopefully it doesn't taste like gross. And but yeah,
I would think, especially being triple distilled, hopefully it just tastes like nothing, would be my guess. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say apricots have really kind of come out of the scapa here. The say fruitiness has really kind of opened up.
Yeah, there was some more fruit on that little sip. This I'm sure that when this opens up, it'll be a pretty different experience. But it's pretty damn good to start. So anytime the neck
Mm.
pour is like legitimately good. I know some people don't believe in the neck pour. Maybe it's not the whiskey, maybe it's me. I don't know, but it definitely is something that
I mean, it definitely evolves, whether it's
yeah.
why or it's evolving or what is.
Yeah, whatever it is, I definitely have different experiences once the bottle is opened up and really throughout. Like it'd be pretty rare for a bottle just to be the same from start to finish.
Mm,
Whether it's
I
me
agree.
or bottle or both. But um I could tell someone's probably got some more opening up to do. It'll be fun to come back to this one. I'll have to obviously dig around for a cork that fits. Hopefully it's not some weird, looks normal. So like I said, I have hundreds of them, so I just have to find the right one. But
Sure, you'll dig one up.
yeah, no, it is great to try these. I mean, it is the fun thing about whiskey, because whiskey does change over time, whether it's over 40 years or 40 years in a cask, or just something that was distilled 40 years ago and been bottled for 20 years. There are subtle changes. Like, I don't think anything that I drank tonight is, at least so far. The Thompson Brothers bottle, maybe, where that one is probably pretty unique. I wouldn't expect to taste anything that's not of similar provenance or whatever the term is, but that's gonna, it's gonna taste like that. But yeah, it's some of the mystique around like older bottlings of whiskey, unless you're really talking a long time ago. I don't know. It's still pretty close. At least the potential's there, right? The truly tasting something that you'll never taste again that'll be pretty rare, I think. But
More than likely, especially if you can it's kind of like a well you can return back to, right? So, yeah, some
yeah,
pretty special stuff though. Yeah, definitely a privilege to be able to do this.
yeah, 100%. I mean, just be able to even get, you know, uh, I'm lucky that I didn't, if you were born in like 1972, which is like every distillery's greatest year of their history sort of thing. Like that's gonna be tough if you're looking for a birth year bottle, because it's like, oh, everything is like, I don't know what there's something in the barley that year or whatever, but everything that from 1972 seems to just be uh, viewed as being fantastic. So, um,
You know,
1983 don't hear too much about.
I don't think I've ever knowingly had a 1987 bottle. I don't believe. I've never intentionally bought one, at least, that's for sure.
I mean, it's a completely arbitrary thing. It's just
Yeah,
like,
it's complete. I've never even thought.
just having the
I don't know
number,
if I've ever seen one. So.
just having the number on the bottle is kind of like, okay, well, this was born the same year I was born, basically.
Mm.
I mean, it's cool for me and nobody else, but um, it's
Yeah,
fun to think about. It's just one more thing that can add a little bit of romance to your whiskey.
exactly. It adds to the romanticism of it all and the nostalgia of life and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that this is a 750 milliliter bottle of Yakintoshin. So this was a U.S. bottling. So I have to imagine that this bottle's been floating around on shelves. I mean, whether it's been at warehouse
So
the entire time, it's just been
that would
floating
be
around for 20 years on the
that
shelf.
would be something if they've just held on to it for 20 years and just
There's,
updating the price every couple of years.
they found, I mean, a case got buried in the corner of their warehouse, and they forgot it was there until
Mm.
somebody was like, "Hey, this has been sitting back here for 20 years. What should we do with it?" You know, um, I'll put it
Yeah.
on the shelf. Try to get rid of it. And
Which is not impossible if you've been to Liquor Warehouse. They've just got
yeah, they've got a lot. I mean, you can still buy all the cartridges going back to like 2017
pre-COVID.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they have a pretty
But
pretty
it's
crazy selection of stuff.
they have a good selection, but it's chaotic. You got to kind of look all the way up at the ceiling and
Yeah, I've always
down
wanted
on get down on your knees and
to like flip them $50, let me climb a ladder and actually look in those shelves at the very top to see what some bottle's been hiding back there forever. That because there's a shop here where I've had stuff, not necessarily like super epic, crazy things. Although I did find the old bottle of Old Pulteney 17 there. But I've
Mm.
gotten old bottles of Bunnahabhain 12, Lechik 10, just like old dusty bottles from again 2017, 2018. Not crazy,
Old labels and stuff.
but the old labels probably somewhat previous iterations, and I don't expect them to be life-changingly good, but it's just another reference point because you hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, this bottle was better then," or "Remember when it was like this?" Even because like the Lechik 10 is colored, like they use coloring at that point. It wasn't until pretty recently that they stopped doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not expecting that to be as good as the contemporary bottle I have, but it's just a reference point. It's fun,
Yeah.
and I'll crack it open
See,
at some point. Yeah, I don't know when, but yeah, getting to try stuff like that, especially if you thought that you missed the boat. and
and that'd definitely be a fun video if you especially you got the old label and the new label and
yeah,
that'd be
there's
fun.
always that potential as well. Try to inform people of anytime once you get the channel going, and every time you have a unique experience, you kind of want to share it. 'Cause I always appreciated it when other creators did it. So
Mm-hmm.
whether it was an epic bottle, or I know some people get mad when you review stuff that they can't buy. They don't waste my time. I don't know. I always liked it, right? Because I get to live vicariously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I take that approach. It's like try not to be snobby about it, but you'll get lucky eventually. You do it long enough, and you put yourself out there, and you come across stuff that ends up being pretty neat.
Absolutely.
And here in the States, yeah, there's still dusty bottles hiding
Oh
in
yeah.
random liquor stores.
And I think I've seen a few times in like northern Wisconsin or Madison area rather. I think I've seen a few different stores with the old labeling of like, I think they're like Bunnahabhain 23s or 25s, whatever it used to be. With like they had the Roman numerals.
Yeah,
I think there's a few bottles like floating around in Wisconsin I've seen that I thought about.
yeah. If they
But
haven't,
they've got them priced up
yeah,
for priced up pretty good.
yeah.
So.
It's more fun. It's more fun when they don't. The store owner just is just happy someone's in there finally buying the damn bottle that's been on their shelf for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's but when they're raising the price, so every time And the thing is, the way it works is if one bottle sells at an auction in 2015 for $1,000, they'll never go. They'll price it at $1,000 and they will never lower it.
Yep.
It could be selling for $300 on auction and be like, "Oh, this is $1,000 bottle. You don't know what you're talking about." I've had to have that conversation. Like, it doesn't sell for that much anymore. Like, yes, it does. I follow this stuff. Well, no, sir, I have a YouTube channel. But
Although I will say there is a certain type of pleasure that comes from like if you walk into a store that's clearly a bourbon store and they have like 20 Scotch bottles, but like one of them's actually like an old gem.
yeah,
And then like you'll bring the Scotch up to the register. They're like, "Oh, someone's buying Scotch."
yeah, I know, yeah, especially yeah, it's very
Thank
arrogant.
you, sir.
I know, like, and they're good. I won't get into that, but yeah, I mean, so many stores have just gone all in on bourbon, and they have such a paltry single malt selection.
Mm.
I don't know, maybe,
Like there was the one store actually. I think I don't know if I brought you to it or not, but they had they had a Scotch case and a bourbon case,
yeah,
like the glass case where it's theoretically locked up.
yeah,
And I went and asked to get into the case, and like they were shocked when I pointed at the Scotch case. They're like, "Oh, that's not even locked. You can pull whatever you want out of
yeah, right. Yeah.
there."
Nobody's trying to steal that.
No one's trying to steal our Scotch. It's like, oh, okay.
Cool. Well, it's been fun. We've been going at it for a while, probably a fairly solid length. Hopefully, if you're watching this on YouTube or listening in your car, whatever it is, I'll definitely should have mentioned this at the beginning because I do try to remember this. I do upload these to Spotify, and they should be on most, if not all. I upload it to one place, and it's supposed to go out to Apple and Amazon and stuff like that. So it is available there. I do upload it as a video as well. So I think you can watch it on video there. I never tried to watch a video podcast on Spotify, so I'm not sure. Anyways, you can, if YouTube isn't your thing and you'd rather listen to these episodes there, maybe at some point we'll do them more frequently, but yeah, Uncorked Podcast on those networks. And yeah, if you haven't, please give the video a like if you made it this far. Hopefully you're not real mad that you did that, and you can hit the like button and maybe the sub button.
Like if they're still mad that they're listening over an hour and a half in,
Yeah, that's what, even my other. And we're at the end. I kind of ramble about some more random stuff that most people don't care about, and I'll say like, if you're still here now, like,
they've just been raging for 90 minutes.
Like, you're I'm just foaming at the mouth, angry. Yeah, I mean, it's 2025. I wouldn't be shocked. There's hate watching and stuff like that is a thing. But, please, yeah, don't do that to yourself. If you're here, if you're still here though, I think we deserve a like. And if you haven't subbed yet, these videos will again come out probably every couple months or so until we make more of a commitment to doing them regularly. Probably have
also,
to go ahead.
Memberships open now as well on YouTube.
Yeah, I still need to get used to that. I was giving you were officially my first member, which I thank you. I'll give you a shout out, maybe in my next video. And Tanya, I was giving Tanya a hard time. I was like,
Tanya's not even a member?
Well, she wasn't. I was giving her a hard time about it, and she couldn't figure out how to do it on her phone. Maybe you can. But
You definitely can. That's just an excuse.
Well, she probably doesn't have the app, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. That could be.
But so in retaliation, she signed up for she's platinum cork or something. She's so she's the highest tier she can go. You can go. So she's
But she lives with
it. Well,
she's just giving 30% of it to YouTube for no reason.
I told her if I had known you were going to do that, I would have made the top tier like $500 or something.
Yeah.
And just be like, "Oh, you're not even my top fan. What the hell?" But yeah. Anyways, yes, memberships are open. I'll get used to mentioning it. Even in the video that's going live tomorrow, I don't mention it till the end because beginning, I tell people to donate to the the fire victims. Don't give me money.
Yeah.
If you're hearing this sometime recently, the fire victims in LA need your money more than I do. So you can wait, send them your $5, $10, whatever. Yeah, but thank you for watching. And yeah, we'll be back at some point. It's been fun. Cheers, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. With you. Happy birthday yet again.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for having me again.
Anytime.
You're always a blast.